Hello, James here. Hope you all doing well. Well, remember the probably I mentioned up in the last video about transitioning. They try to push this movement and everything, trying to get companies, and you have seen celebrities have they transitioning young men into young women to young men. Well, I'm about to show you from this content creator. I believe he's part of the LGBTQ community. So you're going to hear it from yourself what's going on and this is what they're saying. And they're not going to tell you this. Most of them get the surgery. And this is this agenda they're trying to push. But you're about to find out. His channel is called Amaria Oden, but I just want to use his example on it. Once this happened, some people are not really happy once they get the surgery done. You don't believe me? Hear the story.
We are hard-working Americans.
This is what's important to us.
Options for reliable.
I traded my perfectly healthy genitals for an artificial 1-inch tunnel.
A lot of changes that are permanent that I'm gonna have to live with for the rest of my life.
It's not what you think.
What's up, everybody? My name is Amir Eldam, and welcome back to my channel. A couple of quick things. One, welcome to the new studio. I told myself when I reached 100,000 subscribers I would take some time to reorganize some things, and I definitely did that. And hope you guys like it. This is like my vibe, very minimal. Clean couch, light, got my tables, all my books, all my festival bands that I've gone to. Basic artwork from Target, but I love hiking, I love the trees, so I had to get that. And two, I'm wearing glasses. I normally don't. These are blue light glasses. I have laser eye surgery, so I have perfect vision. However, I do suffer from chronic dry eye, always have. My eyes are going through a flare-up right now, so I have on my glasses just to ease all the blue light and just wind hitting my eyes. It's just extra. But with all that being said, in today's video, we're going to be talking about detransitioners. I'm going to highlight a couple of these detransitioning stories because I'm tired of being told that detransitioners are not a thing. I'm tired of being told that this is a small, minute population of trans people, and I just really think that their stories need to be heard. Because I've said this time and time again, it's not so much that people are against transgenders, it's just a matter of people being against children transitioning because of the amount of people that are coming out that are detransitioning. So let this be known now, there is zero ill will, there is zero hate towards anybody in the trans community. The fact of the matter is that there are people that regret transitioning that did start this process when they were a teenager. I'd much rather wait till they're an adult to make these decisions instead of having a pharmaceutical company and their parents make these decisions for them. Because that's another thing too. We say, oh, well, that's the parent's choice. That's their kid. Okay, well, a parent is not allowed to beat their child. CPS gets called. So all of a sudden, if you got a parent beating their child, they get CPS called on them. But if you have a parent taking the kid in to get their breast chopped off or get all these different types of surgeries or get life-changing shots and injections, all of a sudden that's fine. It makes no sense to me. So we're going to shine light on this topic. We're going to talk about these detransitioners, and we're just going to get right into it.
It's Ash, and I am a detransitioner. I recently made a little video on this topic, not really explaining much of it, and got quite a bit of backlash in my comment section, so I just want to come on and share my story. And some of you guys, you're going to hate me for this, but I need to speak the truth. I don't care what you say in my comments, I'm not gonna turn my comments off. Growing up, I didn't really show any signs of gender dysphoria. I was perfectly happy with my body and being a girl, and of course I was uncomfortable with, puberty and stuff, but that was for other reasons. Every girl is uncomfortable with their changing body. And when I was 13, I started to struggle a lot with depression, anxiety, that sort of stuff. I spent a lot of time on the internet, specifically TikTok, way more than I should have, rather than going out in the real world, especially with COVID and everything else that was going on. Now, at the time, there were a million videos of all these trans people coming out, and because I was so unhappy with myself and who I was, I thought that that might be what was wrong with me, and I convinced myself that that's what was wrong with me, and that's what would fix me. And I went really, really, really far to pass as a male, to the point where nobody that I knew that I was born a female. Here's a little picture of me from that time, had the facial hair and everything. When I first transitioned, I really didn't have any issues with my body, but as I went on, I realized that I needed to fit into this box if I wanted to be a male, and because of how my body did not fit into that box, I became increasingly more uncomfortable with it.
This happens so much, especially when you're a teenager. You're trying to find your tribe. You're trying to find your community, and far too often we realize that our personalities and who we are as people and as a person, we're unique. We don't fit in boxes all the time. Like when I came out the closet and I realized I was gay, I flew out that closet. I'm talking rainbows, mannerisms, super feminine, drag show, like all of it. I jumped right into the gay culture because I felt like that's what I had to be because I was gay, instead of going back and focusing on, oh, I'm a mirror first. I am me and I am an individual, and that's what matters most. And that's what you all should be doing too, not sitting here doom scrolling on another app convincing yourself that you belong in this community when in reality you're just figuring out your identity because you're going through a rough time, which is teenage years. I mean, shit, I think back to 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I'm drastically different than what I was back then. Completely different people, because I'm at that age where I'm exploring my identity, I'm figuring out who I am, and that's okay, and that should be accepted for kids, but let's leave it at that. I have no problem with teenagers exploring how they're dressing. I have no problems with teenagers, being tomboys, tomgirls. That's not the issue. The issue is when we're doing irreversible damage to these teenagers. When you're giving them double mastectomies, when you're giving them injections that's changing their voice and making them grow facial hair, when you're doing these things that's forever harming their bodies, just for how they're feeling in that moment. You're putting a band-aid on an identity crisis. It's like, just let the kid go through that crisis and they're gonna figure it out. When they're an adult to actually transition, then so be it. I have nothing wrong with trans people. This whole video, there's nothing wrong with trans adults. You do you. I have trans friends. I don't care. You're a grown adult. Do you. What I care about is the children that are being misguided and misled and to believe that, yes, this is me. I have to get surgeries. I have to get the shots. I have to transition. When in reality, you're just figuring out your personality, and that's okay. But I don't think the introduction to life-altering medicines is the answer.
Gender dysphoria. It was me trying to fit myself into a box that I simply didn't fit into. In a way, I sort of brainwashed myself into thinking that I had gender dysphoria. And naturally, this brought me into a really bad place mentally, where I started struggling with drugs, self-harm, suicidal ideation, all that stuff. And I assumed this was because I wasn't male enough, but it was really because I wasn't a male at all. I got on testosterone when I was 15 years old, and the thing that I think is absolutely wild is that I went to one appointment before I was given my prescription. One. You might be thinking, oh, well, they probably asked you a ton of questions. No, they barely asked me anything.
Hi guys, I'm Samara, and I'm a coach here at Automatic Cash Cars, and I'm super excited to reach out to you today with a
One. You might be thinking, oh, well, they probably asked you a ton of questions. No, they barely asked me anything. I basically walked in there and was like, I'm trans, and they were like, okay.
And more trans people are saying this. I'm tired of this myth and this debate that, oh, it's not happening at a large scale. Oh, you have to go through 2 years of therapy and this and that. No.
I was on testosterone for about 6 months, and luckily it didn't affect me super bad. I can still talk in a higher range and pass as female. Of course, there's a lot of changes that are permanent that I'm gonna have to live with for the rest of my life. After about 2 years of living as a male, I realized I was wrong. But I didn't come out about that right away. I stayed living as male for another year before I really finally decided that I needed to do this.
And so what kills me is that, no shade, no ill will, but you can tell that, like, something's happened. You can tell it's not 100% female. You can tell that there were some things that were changed in the voice and how they look. That's never going to change. As much as they're going to try, there's things that you can do, of course, but you can't go back from it. And that's the core of the issue, is you can't go back. If you want to do it as an adult, that is fine, but damn, these kids shouldn't be making decisions like this. This shouldn't be a thing. And that's not painful. There's no ill will. It's not being rude. It's literally just paying attention to and highlighting these people who are detransitioning and have gone through these exact things.
And it was one of the most scary things that I ever did. I've faced so much backlash. I found it that people are so quick to accept trans people, but so quick to criticize detransitioners. Once I detransitioned, all my mental problems were gone. I'm happy. That was my issue. The fact that I'd convinced myself that I was a dude.
And that's the sad part too, is that you have all these people that are detransitioning and then they're exiled from the community just for highlighting something that they are going through. Because they feel like, oh, you detransition, you don't like trans people, you detransition, that means you're gonna make us all look bad. It's like, they detransition because it's a real thing that's being pushed on children. It's a real thing that people are being misled with. And they're highlighting their story, and I'm glad they're highlighting their story because it's not all peaches and cream. It's a lifetime worth of doctor visits that you're subscribing to, surgeries, things that can go wrong. And y'all, we've gotta stop.
My name is Max. My pronouns are he, him.
Hey Max, my name is Austin. I am that 40-year-old detransitioner that you say you'll never be. And I want to say that I also thought when I was your age that I would never ever detransition either, that I 100% knew who I was then, there, and I would always be unfalteringly unchangeable. I really believed that. I transitioned really young too, but obviously in a much different time, and a much different socioeconomic bracket than what I kind of perceive you to have grown up in. And that's no shade, that's just the real tea. But I think it's really dangerous for you to come on TikTok and say that people shouldn't listen to the detrans movement just because you may or may not disagree with some of our politics, or may not ever see yourself detransitioning. I saw you kind of backpedal a little in your response stitch to Lucy, and it just has me a little bit confused because, truthfully, if gender is a spectrum, why do we have to try to change anything? Why can't you just be you?
That is such a good point. If gender is a spectrum, you keep telling me that men can be women and women can be men, then what's the point of even transitioning in the first place? To be trans is to transition from one thing to another, but on the flip side, you have people in the same community telling me that it's a spectrum and you can be whatever you want to be.
Why are you pushing so hard? Not you specifically, but why is big trans pushing so hard to make sure that children are medicalized? You have no idea what 20 plus years of HRT will do to your bladder or your endocrine system or your urethra. I do. It's not what you think. It has irreversible side effects and damages. Puberty blockers are not reversible. They're absolutely not reversible. I know that's the big narrative that they are, but everyone I've ever talked to that's on it, your puberty never comes back correctly. You're always stunted. It's not like we're some cabal of detrans people that want to hurt trans people. No, I still feel like I will always be a trans person, so no one is going to take that right from me to speak of that, to speak to my truth and just share what 20 plus years of trans identity can do to a person. It's not all perfect, it's not all easy peasy. Life gets harder and harder and harder. Now, I think that when you're female to male, maybe your experience will be different from a male to female. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I come from a time when there was so much more internalized and externalized homophobia out in the world, but that's not the case anymore. America has accepted gay people and lesbian people and trans people, and right-wing people don't want to, kill you or cause a genocide. That's absolutely not true. What we want is to make sure that children are old enough to make informed consent, and you can't do informed consent if you are unable to be informed about lifetime effects. So God love you and God bless them.
Amazing. Because it's so true, and it's such a good point in that it's a lifetime of side effects. It's a lifetime of drug prescriptions. It's a lifetime commitment that people need to be made aware of. It's not shits and giggles of, oh, I'm trans, let me go get surgery and do this and that. No, it's really hard stuff. It's a huge commitment. One that children cannot make. You tell me to listen to trans people, I'm going to listen to trans people. Here are the trans people I'm listening to, okay? Does this negate the people who actually do transition? No. They're real people that do transition as adults. No. Well, let me read this. Do y'all think detransitioners are aware that they could detransition privately without becoming a strawman for conservatives? I'm glad you had your journey and all, but you don't gotta kick us in the shins on your way out the door. That's the problem. I'm not trying to use these people as a straw man. I'm trying to just highlight something that you're actively hiding. When it comes to the children, That's why we bring up the people that detransition, because they're doing life-changing things on the people before they even have the right to really think about it and decide if that's something they really want to do. Like, I'm tired of this idea that there's always some negative agenda that's coming from more conservative talking points just for bringing up people who detransition. From highlighting detransitioners to highlighting other prominent voices in the gay community, it's as if we're always trying to do something bad, when in reality, I'm just highlighting the voices that are unheard. I'm highlighting the opinions that I think need to be shared. Like, just because I talk about masculine gay people doesn't mean I have any ill will towards anyone that is a feminine gay person and that I have some type of internalized homophobia. Being gay doesn't mean I'm against being masculine and that I think everything should be feminine. No, I'm fine with masculinity and having testosterone run through my veins. In fact, I think being a man and the testosterone that's within us is what led us to where we are today. And just because I'm attracted to the same sex does not mean that I don't value traits such as strength, resiliency, and leadership that come with masculinity and more conservative values. Many gay men, like myself and maybe even you, strive hard to embody these masculine traits in order to use them and contribute to society in a beneficial way. And truly, the one thing that concerns me the most about, all this top talk of masculinity and femininity and testosterone, what bothers me is that the more chemicals that are introduced to our bodies, into this planet, we're seeing some really weird stuff happening to our bodies. Testosterone levels have been dropping drastically over the past few decades. From 2004 to 1987, they've seen a 17% drop in testosterone. And not to mention sperm count over the last 50 years, that's becoming at an all-time low for potency as well. Luckily, Black Forest Supplements offers a solution for all of us. Specifically, their Sustanch with Tonkat Ali supplement. This powerful combination taps into ancient wisdom with modern science. Sustanch tuberosa is a desert plant and is known for supporting healthy testosterone levels, in addition to promoting energy and boosting strength. Paired with the Tonkat Ali, which is also an herb known for its testosterone boosting abilities, it's truly a game changer for men looking to revitalize themselves, their vigor, and their energy. And their website is easy to navigate, in addition to their plethora of 5-star reviews that you can read through to get other people's experience as well. And not only just that, but you also get a money-back guarantee with your purchase. And for women, I highly recommend their NMN supplement that they offer, which has been labeled one of the best anti-aging supplements in the world. So honestly, right now is a perfect opportunity for you to take advantage of 20% off utilizing code AMIR. It's time to reclaim our masculinity, uphold traditional values, and stay true to who we are as people. So if you're interested, don't forget to check the pinned comment and the link below in the description.
I'll never have my breasts back. A reconstruction will do nothing for me, and it might make things worse actually, because I've had some complications pop up this year with the grafts. I have to cover them up with bandages, or else they'll. I don't know what's going on with them. I tried to consult my surgeon about it, and she didn't really investigate. He gave me advice that made the complications worse even, and actually temporarily gave me an infection. But I have to bandage up every day so that it doesn't leak all over my clothing or bedding. And
Jesus.
From the hormones and blockers, I've been experiencing some joint pains, mainly in my arms, my legs, and my back. And I still have issues with my urinary tract. I have to use the restroom pretty frequently, and I didn't even know that this was possible. This is a pretty huge quality of life issue that I'm experiencing, and I'm just not really getting any help for it. And on top of that, I do hate to speak about it, but I'm experiencing sexual dysfunction at the age of 18. That's something that women usually go through when they're in their 40s to 50s.
Right.
How was I supposed to know?
I don't know what to say. and we talked about this in the Jubilee video that I was in. People bring up this discussion, this argument that, oh, there's not that many detransitioners, there's not that many kids going through this. One is enough. One is enough, okay? At some point in the United States, there were enough car crashes to where, as a whole, we said, you know what, pause, we need to mandate seatbelts. We just need to mandate seatbelts. Where is that line for us? How many children will have to be like her for us to sit back and say, okay, actually, maybe a kid can't make a decision this ingrained. Maybe, much like drinking, much like voting, much like getting a tattoo, we should not allow it for minors. And watching that video, that's enough for me to make this whole video. That's enough for me to make this content. That's enough for me to speak out against things like this because of someone's story like that. People say, oh, I mean, it's not happening. There aren't double mastectomies for minors. It is happening, okay? And I don't understand why people, when you bring these topics up, they get angry about it. What is there to get angry about? It's the truth. It's just a matter of what it is. I'm not being hateful towards trans people. It's not that I don't want them to exist. It's that, hey, there's literally people who regret it. There's people who, and I'm not saying everybody in this video that did transition regrets it. That's their own words. Some of them say they don't regret it. I don't see how, like, that's abuse. I look at that the same way as a parent beating their child. I don't care if that's a parent, that's a decision they want to do. We can call out when something's wrong. And calling out it being wrong does not make me hateful. It doesn't. If anything, I feel, and I think that's the confusion. A lot of the people that are, because there are some people that are completely transphobic, homophobic, I get it. Them the fringes. But your day-to-day human, the reason we're seeing all of this, you know, this conversation rise and become more popular is because the people that respect the trans community, but also want to protect people like this, they get shunned, they get pushed away. And that's who I'm speaking for. That alone just fires me up to continue to make content and be the change that I wish to see, and urge you guys to be vocal in your own beliefs as well, because that's absurd for a child to go through.
Black Friday is coming at Wayfair from November 23rd through the 27th.
Child to go through.
Hi, my name is Shay. I started identifying as transgender at 22 while still in college. Before that, I was just a feminine, gay man. Being asked about my pronouns led me to research transgender ideology, and pretty quickly I got convinced that I was transgender woman. I was able to get hormones relatively easily through Fenway Health, and was only on them.
And just to be clear, again, this person is a consenting adult that's talking about this. So in this situation, it's on Shay to make that decision and transition, but I think she's going to talk about how she wanted to detransition and why even at her age, it's still confusing, so she only imagine how confusing it is for children. But I want to make that note.
For a year before receiving facial feminization and breast augmentation surgeries at 23. Taking hormones actually worsened my mental health, but therapists saw that it was because I was stuck in the wrong body. They cleared me for sex reassignment surgery by diagnosing me with gender identity disorder. Immediately after SRS, I was super excited to start a new life. I was happy for a few months while recovering. However, soon I realized that my new part wasn't what doctors promised me. My new vagina started constricting despite rigorous dilation, which resulted in me developing vaginal stenosis. This left me unable to have penetrative sex, which adversely impacted my mental health. I also lost my sex drive, my motivation to achieve anything, and became brain fogged and lethargic. I had multiple unsuccessful revisions attempting to get a few inches of new vaginal tunnel. I even had colon vaginoplasty. The last revision was at the University of Miami by Dr. Cristobal Salgado in 2018, and it left me with a colorectal fistula. I've been all over the country trying to seek help, but I have received none. Earlier this year, after hitting rock bottom with my depression, I reached out to a new...
I'm shook. I'm like... got the heebie-jeebies. That's entirely too much. And see, it'd be one thing if I see on these trans activists and people pushing for trans kids highlighting this aspect and saying, yes, you want to be a transition, you want to be like Dylan Mulvaney type, all those people. If they talked about that, that'd be interesting. But they don't. As far as I've researched into, no one talks about this. This is
This therapist helped me realize that I have complex PTSD from a traumatic childhood, and also pointed out that I have body dysmorphia, OCD, borderline personality, and bipolar disorders. I also realized I had internalized homophobia. I realize now that medical transition was sold to me as a hardware fix for software issues. A few months ago, I started transitioning by taking testosterone.
A hardware fix for software issues. Damn.
However, it is traumatic to be on testosterone without having functional genitals. Moreover, my back hurts every day due to osteoporosis and scoliosis that I developed post-SRS. I'm now dependent on synthetic hormones for life. I traded my perfectly healthy genitals for an artificial 1-inch tunnels that is sexually non-functional. I realize that I'm never getting back a functional penis, and full detransition is not really possible in my case. I feel stuck in surgically created body. I believe nobody under 18 should be allowed to medically transition. Sex reassignment surgery should only be allowed in very rare cases after a full psych evaluations. Patients should be made aware that what they're really getting is a cosmetic surgery, and it's a genital approximation surgery that does not change biological sex.
Damn. Wow. We've gone through this video and we've seen so many adults and all their complications and all their concerns and all their worries. This is why people have a problem with trans kids. This is literally it. Like, this is it. It's so much more than just being, oh, I'm a boy or oh, I'm a girl. There's a lifelong, it's a journey, truly, that we're signing children up for. And it's just not right. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. That was incredibly eye-opening, even for me, to be able to see and hear the stories of these trans people and the things that they're going through, because I feel like far too often we're not getting to hear this side of things because it's so suppressed by the own trans community, and there's not a lot of gay people, trans people out there that are highlighting this narrative. So I'm glad I'm able to give it a platform and we're able to see the dark reality that does come with transitioning. Again, thank you to Black Force Supplements for sponsoring this video. Their links you can find right below the like button. Thank you all for sharing my content, subscribing. We're past 100K. Got a whole new studio. This is only the beginning, and I'm so glad that you're here along the ride. Thank you to my wonderful supporters in my Discord community. We have so much fun talking, hanging out, doing live streams. It's just a complete blast, and you know, that video just threw me off so much mentally, but I hope that you all are having a great day, that your week has been well, that you understand that no one can change your life but you, and I hope that you're going out there doing the things you need to do to become the best version of yourself, and that you know you can be. Believe in yourself, go after your goals and dreams, and know that you got this. It's called going through it for a reason. You're not stuck there, you're going to survive. That being said, much love, and as always, I will catch you in the next video.
So that's saying a whole lot, that even in the LGBTQ community, there's problems. But what's going on is that these companies want to push this agenda on young people, and that, I mean, it's the population reduction, and so, you know, that's basically what it is. And a lot of people, and they pushing this, and so this is the results of it. And so a lot of people have a lot of emotional and mental problems behind the stuff, and it's really sad. You know, it's nothing really to laugh at, and my heart goes out to the victims. But see, you see how the devil convinced them? This is nothing but the devil, man, and he tricks them to think that you're going to be safe, but when they find out it, and they believe that in their own mind, that it was God convinced them to do that. It wasn't God that convinced them to do that. It was Satan that convinced them to do that. And now they have to pay a severe price for what they have done. And they have to live with that for the rest of their life. You know, and some of these people commit suicide, you know, in the LGBTQ community. you know, and they, you know, it's about love is love, and no, a lot of people ain't feel. So even after all that, but a certain percentage are still not happy in what they done with themselves. They're not happy. So it goes to show you that no, they're not. It's something with that, and they think that that's going to solve their problems, and you know, and it comes to find out it really doesn't, and it's really sad that you have people that are going through that that their bodies is transitioning. And I think I played this video. Another thing about the LGBTQ.
Alright, the lesbian divorce rate is astronomically high, and the reasons why may shock you, so stick around. We gotta get into the reasons why, and it proves a lot of stuff that we say about women true in these neck of the woods of the internet. But let's get into it. Divorce rate, as you see right there, it says higher for lesbians and gay men. No, it's higher than everybody. It says right here, according to the data from the Office of National Statistics, in 2019, 56% of same-sex marriages were between women. So yes, the women are clicking up and getting married more. The divorce rate for lesbian was much higher than the 72% that is standing at right now in 2019. They actually got it down. They got it down. That's astonishing. It's at 78% that it was in 2016, 74 2017, 75 in 2018. Eerily similar to the 80% of women file for divorce. Even when they get married to each other, they're filing, they're breaking it up at the same rate. No man involved. Divorce factors. This is the part that's going to be shocking to you. Look at what it's saying there. Feeling ignored in the marriage. You know all that stuff that they say to men, and you're not listening to me, and I don't feel that I'm being heard. Well, apparently y'all don't get heard around here. I don't want to hear each other either. Apparently that's the case of what's going on. Feeling ignored. The stuff that they charge us up with. Look at all this stuff. Unequal relationship. The number 2. Unequal, and I don't even know if these are in order from bad to worse or from highest. That's interesting right there. They don't say. They should have numbered them. They should have put number 1, 2, 3, and 4, but now they just listed them. So we don't really know if that's the order. But either way, unequal relationship with one partner pulling the weight in the marriage. That's some of that, you know, that stuff they say to us, oh, I can do bad all by myself. Or I have to work and then I have to come home and still clean up and cook. So yeah, so apparently, you know, it's like they got studs on the couch. They got a stud on the couch, and they're having the same problems. The stud is not pulling his weight, not getting up, going to work, drinking up all the kids' juice boxes. Same problems. But unequal relationship with one partner pulling the weight in the marriage. I guarantee if you look at the reason that women claim that the reason that women divorce men is very similar. It's very similar. They say the same thing. These are the big ones. These are the whammy bammies, you know, big kahunas right here. Adultery and DV. I see it right there. Those are the big ones. Those are the ones that they charge men up with. The evil men, the you know, it's wow. So when y'all get together, the reason that y'all are separating at a nearly 80% rate is because of adult cheating and domestic violence. The thing that they say that men are the most just ruthlessly worst at. Men are just bad people. Like what we just put right there, those two, those are the reasons that some women give for why they started dating women to begin with. But those are a part of the top reasons why they divorce other women. But it wouldn't be fair if we didn't hear what some actual lesbians had to say about this. So let's go ahead and get that pulled on up.
Why is the divorce rate for lesbian couples so high? Same-sex marriage as a legal institution has been around for long enough that there are now long-term studies about the state of marriage among gay couples, and although the field of research is still new, there are some interesting trends. In most of these studies, lesbian couples divorce at a much higher rate than that of gay male couples, and in some studies, even divorce at higher rates than straight couples. And
No. If it's at 72, 75, in some cases 78%, as it was in, I believe, 2016, then no, it's not in some cases higher than straight couples. Like, no, the divorce rate among straight couples is around 50%. So she kind of smuggled in some fake news.
An ONS study in the UK shows that lesbian couples are 2.5 times more likely to divorce than gay male couples. An NIH study in the US found that 12% of lesbian couples who adopted children divorced compared to 2% of gay male couples and 8% of straight couples. In Norway, 53% of lesbian marriages in 2003 ended by 2018. But why is this happening? There are a few hypotheses. It could very well have to do with the stereotype that lesbian couples are quick to jump into committed relationships without really thinking if they are compatible with each other. It could also be that women generally have higher standards for relationships and are less likely to stay in unsatisfactory partnerships.
No. I heard enough. I'm going to play the rest of it, but no. You can't say that y'all are not, don't put up with unfair treatment or this or that or blah, blah, blah. It's nothing but women there. So you don't get to be the victim in this equation. That's the interesting thing. That's part of the reason why I find it even interesting enough to cover this, because this is a situation where a woman does not get to play the evil man victim, men bad, women good card. It's nothing but women involved. So you don't get to make that argument that y'all don't put up with unsavory behavior when it's nothing but women involved, which means y'all are dishing out the unsavory behavior, which means you don't get to be the victim, and it dispels the idea and the notion of you being the victim in a relationship with men when y'all get in a relationship with each other and y'all victimize each other all the same.
Women don't have the social pressures of straight women to stay in relationships where they have to tolerate bad behavior such as infidelity or abuse or other issues that would not cause other couples to divorce.
So she's saying that that straight women are pressured into staying into it. I don't think that's true. How could that be true if they're filing for 80% of the divorces? And the lesbian divorce rate got up to 78%, which was eerily close to the 80% of divorces that women file. So where are these social pressures?
Only the Sleep Number Climate 360 Smart Bed lets you each sleep up to...
So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this short. So it goes to show you that, and oh, wait a minute. I want to show you this right quick.
On Sunday, September 17th, millions of Americans left their homes to attend church services and corporately worship God. But I doubt few experienced a church service quite like this one in Dallas. Drag queens from the anti-Catholic Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence were invited on stage during the 10 a.m.
Uh-oh.
Using a Y incision, she cuts across the chest and down to the pelvic bone.
Think my app must have stopped.
Worship service to receive a blessing from the congregation. Church leaders at the Cathedral of Hope wanted to affirm how the drag queens had contributed to the community in inspiring ways. Folks, this should not have taken place in a church. Yes, Christians should show love and respect for all people, but drag queens on stage in a church? Churches that ignore Christ's command to go and sin no more, those that try to be culturally correct and relevant, enable and perpetuate ungodly behavior. Meanwhile, 400 miles south of Dallas, revival is breaking out, this time at the Corpus Christi campus of Texas A&M. At least 124 students recently received Christ, and they were baptized. One youth pastor says students are being baptized daily. There's no sign of revival slowing down. It follows a revival that broke out at the Texas A&M College Station campus last winter, when hundreds were baptized and students witnessed healing miracles. Aggie student Jordan said he saw a lame man rise and walk.
He mentioned that nobody in his 20 years of life had prayed for his legs before. At all. Nobody had ever prayed. Man, just as the body of Christ, we pulled the braces off. We prayed. We prayed for his legs. We prayed for strength in his bones. And if he gets up, he's like, I want to try to walk. He gets up, he walks 20 feet. And he's walking without this crutch. He's never done this before in his life. My goodness. He walked. It wasn't the most graceful thing. He walked.
Folks, it isn't only happening at Texas A&M. Earlier this month, more than 200 students were baptized during a spontaneous wave of God's Spirit at Auburn University. And 282 people were baptized in one day in Arden, North Carolina. By the way, those North Carolina baptisms, they occurred on the same Sunday as the blessing of the drag queens in Dallas. Quite the contrast. Folks, as politicians debate tougher gun laws, more police, and prosecutorial crackdowns as ways to solve America's crime wave, we need to keep praying that this revival continues to spread and intensify. Horrific robberies and assaults like this one at a gas station in Seattle's Normandy Park would become less frequent if more Americans turn to Christ and experience the joy, love, and peace that only He can bring. Well, that's it today from the Global Lane. Be sure to follow us on the CBN News and NRB channels, YouTube, iTunes, Rumble, and our...
So, you're probably wondering why I played that. Because Christ is about love. That's the real love of saving people's soul and salvation. To bring them out of depression. To bring them out of confusion. To bring them out of who they have an identity in Him. And once they have an identity in Him, you know, you won't have these people who feel like they have to be something else or have to fully transition to something else. If you have the love of Christ and it's being introduced. So that was the whole point of me doing this video. And you had to hear it so it don't seem like I'm beating up on LGBTQ people. You had to hear from someone a part of the LGBTQ community. And you got to feel understand the reason why there's a high percentage of divorce rate, because when it comes to the heterosexual community, it's not you don't have the right person that was ordained by God. Two, when it came to the two women marrying each other or two men, and the reason why they get divorced, because that's a false love. That's a false love. And without having the ultimate real love, like the way it was designed to do, it's going to be confusion. See, Satan caused that confusion. It's these people who agree with Satan. It's these corporations that agree with Satan. And so here's the outcome of the people say, yeah, we got our rights, but it still haven't solved the problem on why some people in these cases of the transgender people is getting depressed, and some I wouldn't doubt some are committing suicide. I wouldn't doubt, and this is the reason why. It's something that is eternity, that it takes the Most High God to bring that person out. But what happened was there's not enough churches, enough people in Christ to show a loving hand to bring them out. When they start going through that phase that, yeah, I'm gay man or gay woman, but I'm thinking about taking it to a whole different level. That was a whole different level. Because like, okay, now, you know, this person accepted, and it's Satan's telling, well, just go ahead, since the devil's telling them that you already effeminate, so you feel like a girl and you dress up like a transgender. drag king, just go ahead and just transition out. And this is what happened. And now Satan does the ultimate act. It is a church that's baptizing drag queens, which means that that's symbolicism of transgenders. So that's a false hope, false narrative, and they're not going to be happy because the reason why the one who is ultimate love gives you the love for your children and gives you love for your spouse. That's who the Most High God is. But what happens is that this world goes around God and say we're going to do our own thing, and God says go ahead, but you won't have me with you. That's what basically what God is saying. You know what I'm saying? He loves the person because he don't want to see somebody take their life, whether they're in the LGBTQ or whether they're a gay man, a gay woman, a transgender person. If anything, he wants to reach to them because he knows there's something deeply wrong with them on the inside. And this is what the gay don't understand this. And it's what it is on the spiritual aspect. What you think is love is two demonic spirits are making a covenant. That's what when they did the drag queen, you do it under what they call the system of Baal. Baal is over the drag queen. The church is allowed the drag queen. So there's a spirit of Baal is in the church, which is out of the kingdom of Satan. That gives you the illusion that because Jesus is not there, the one that paid for these sins is not there. I'm sorry to tell you this, but it's a fact because it would go against the whole order what he designed love between man and woman in him. And all men and women come to make an agreement and love each other by spirit, and God is the lovely over both men and women. That brings up the component. Marriage is deeper than what you think. But what happened was Satan, he turned around and he could cause confusion and make you think that, and this is what we have in the world. That's why you have people, so they get confused and thinking that, so he put in their head that it's okay to be you. And so you see it yourself. Now, Dwayne Wade child is going to possibly go through that in the future. And other ones who transition. And I heard that Marlon Wayans, but I think his sons, I think they probably was adult. But this is what they got looking come down the line. From transgender people themselves. It's more than that. And you see the after effects of it. People don't understand. It's not going to heal you psychologically. God designed the body when he put us in the body for a reason. We all, of course, came in this world as sinners, but he gave us the sexual parts that we need. And even if some of us came into the world liking another sex, he know how to bring us out and show us what the ultimate love is, whether you're a woman or a man, even if you were in an alternative lifestyle. But what happened was Satan is over the LGBTQ community, and he's infiltrating. And so this is the reason why this stuff happens. And it's sad because in the end, they lose their soul. If they take their life, they lose their soul for eternity. And it's too bad not too many people who have the love of Christ that tell these people, your soul is going to be required. If you do not repent of this, you would cease being that. Going against the order of the way God designed you to be. Going against the order, and that's called rebellion. This is the reason why. Because at the end of the day, it's a human being. Sinner is sinner. And this don't, but this should be told. See, after you think you're happy, you're not really happy. The only one that can give you the happiness is the one that give us righteousness. The one that give us the design the family the way it is. And whether a man sleep with 100 different women or women sleep with 100 different men, it'll be the same way. If you don't do it the right way, by the Most High God, the devil kicks in. And he hits you with his open door to your mind and your body. And sin. And it revolves in diseases and viruses is open up because of our sin. Because of what we choose to do. And we didn't ignore it. It's not to beat up on somebody. It don't matter whether you're straight, you're gay, whatever. This is for anybody. The sin is sin, but sin has the consequences. Transition to somebody, another person, and this is what these companies pushing on your children. They're pushing this. But if you decide to let your child go through there, they're gonna suffer for the rest of their life. This is what some of these people that they don't understand this. They do not understand the consequences. And so you have to hear it from people who are transgender themselves. So I hope this video of what Mari showed you. And then you see, even if you get married, because as two lesbians or two gay men, they're still not happy. Because it wasn't built on the love of Christ. Christ loves the man and the woman and child. And we go around that, everything's a false love. And people starting to find that out. Because you feel like that until when it comes time, you come to the end of your life. And I feel bad when some people are in that community have to go see the Lord and die in that particular community because they sealed themselves with their decision. That's why some people who were in that lifestyle coming out of that lifestyle, and nobody want to talk about that. But the devil keeps them in that lifestyle. And it's a heavy cost to pay. And this is all tied into this agenda that they're pushing on children. They want people to do, and we live in a demonic world. That's why they're pushing on the young people. They're trying to cut your bloodline, reduce your population. That's why I said. That's why people say Jesus is coming back soon. Some people in the Christian community, because of stuff like this. Because He never ordained it to be that way. And now there are people going to lose them. Probably take themselves out because they're not happy. That's got to be miserable. Going through that with your body. Man, my heart goes out to him, man. But I hope this video wakes up and you know somebody going through this, share his video. They talk about doing share that man's video. Because it need to be told from people themselves. And they want to keep it up like, no. Truth need to come forward. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoy this video, and yeah, let this be a lesson that this is what they're coming down the road with, and they pushing it on the youth. So keep preaching and teaching your children, right? That's the point of this video, because now you see the consequences of doing the wrong thing will lead to, and you hear from the people themselves and what they got suffered. And then I asked the people who think about transitioning in that surgery, do you want to be like that? You hear after that, you think God wants you to suffer like that? He don't want you to suffer like that. Give that someone to talk to them. You gotta hold it in. Alright then. Hope this like, share, and subscribe. I hope this kind of get some people to really think about what they're doing, even with their child. And it's not gonna take away that. The only one's gonna take away the depression, the self-identity, confusion is Christ. And He'll show you in His Word. It's not religion I'm talking about. It's relationship I'm talking about to you. So please stay care, and the ones who are believers stay blessed. See you on the next time, to the next video. Take care.